Hey, do you want to learn how to make a frame just like this with a seamless joint? Well, I will show you how to do that right now. I would ask for a quick tutorial on how to do it. I am just a regular person who taught myself how to make frames, and a friend asked me to make this tutorial. If you do it different, it's good. I'm happy for you. But I'm going to show you how I do it. Essentially, I start out with all of my framing material. I have rabbited this frame. If you don't want to rabbit your frames at first, don't. This is going to be the exact same process. I learned to make frames over the past, 3 years through trial and error. A 45-degree angle joint is one of the easiest cuts, but it's also one of the most difficult, and a lot of people struggle with it. I have found the greatest success after I tuned in and calibrated my saw. When I make a 45-degree angle cut, I know it is a true 45. If you find that your joints aren't lining up at a 45, you could try playing around with moving your saw a half a degree above or below the 45. I've heard other makers say that they do that too. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to make my first cut. Okay, so I have my first piece cut, and then this is my second piece. I'm just going to connect them together. I'm going to check this joint, and that actually looks really nice and tight. I like the continuation of the frame here, and then I just make sure that it's closed on the outside as well. But that looks really, really good. So for the next series of cuts, the first angle, that is going to be the easiest one because it's just two long pieces connecting together. I have my mark here. I am going to sneak up on that angle, and what that means is I am not going to cut directly on that line. I am going to cut a few centimeters away and then kind of sneak up close to it to get it perfectly where I need it to be. Another thing I always do, I always make a little note for myself on where I want my angle to go. Trust me, everybody has been there where you have your piece and then you cut your first angle and then you cut your next angle and you cut it wrong. And that is really, really frustrating. So I have learned to always just make a little note for myself. That angle's going this way, this angle's going that way. I turned my piece over so I can see exactly where my line is. And I'm going to adjust my saw to 45 this way. I always use the shadow line of the curve of the blade. I don't have a fancy laser. I have a Ryobi, but it has done me well. So I'm just gonna use the shadow of the blade. I am, maybe a 1/4 inch away. And then I'm just gonna, I know that that's way too far. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna take maybe just a curve of material off. Okay, and I maybe like a centimeter or two away from that line. I'm gonna go check. Okay, so I have my two pieces cut here. This piece is essentially cut to length, maybe a centimeter too long. But I'm going to move on to this piece and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I have my line here. I am going to sneak up on that miter and I'm going to make a little note, so this angle's going that way. I want the other angle to go the other way. Okay, so I have my two pieces cut to length here. They might be like 1/16 too long, but I can adjust that after I'm done. Something else that I like to do, it's like a little trick, is I will take them off and I'll flip it to the other side and I'll just check length for this side. And I just make sure that it's exactly where I want it to go. Eyeline it, check it. This one is perfect and this one is perfect. So I will then just take these measurements and then place them right on my next pieces. That makes, it saves a lot of time. And then I will go ahead and just sneak up on those angles again. Okay, so all of my pieces are now cut down to size. I am going to dry fit it together, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. To do that, I am going to use my Collin clamps. Please be careful when using Collin clamps. They are spring clamps. They will come back at you. They will take no mercy. I have gotten bit by a Collin clamp, and it is not fun at all. Just a continuation all the way through. This is nice and tight all the way through here. So there is a small gap on this side here, but the wenge is exactly where I want it. So I'm going to leave it and I will fix that. This is nice and tight. And then this one is nice and tight, but there is just a small gap right here. Okay, so I am going to fix the gap in my miters. They are very slight gaps, but I do not want them there. If it is any larger than like a hair or two line gap, I will recut the piece. I will not fix it, but gaps do happen to the best of us, actually all of us, and I am going to show you how I fix it. So I am going to just go, I'm going to go ahead and glue my frame together. Okay, so I have a little bit of glue squeeze out here. I'm actually wanted a little bit more squeeze out here, a little bit more here, and a little bit more here. So I'm just gonna add it, and then I'm going to immediately sand the top of my frame. Not too much. Paper. I'm gonna sand. Your super clean, tight miter joint. That's sexy. That wenge piece in there. That's sexy. I hope that that was helpful for you, and if you watch this and you're not Bella Lids, and you liked it, give me a follow. I appreciate it. Every little bit helps me. And I hope you have an amazing day, amazing Friday, and a great weekend. Okay, bye.